Linguistic diversity is the language in which a student feels most comfortable communicating is not the language of instruction in a classroom. So any student that does not speak English as their first language in our state of Pennsylvania would be considered linguistically diverse. You may hear students that are linguistically diverse also called the four acronyms in the gray box. ELL stands for English Language Learner. ESL stands for English as a Second Language. CLD students are students that are culturally and linguistically diverse, and LEP students are students with limited English proficiency. At any point, people may use those acronyms interchangeably, and so if you hear those, just know it means a student that is linguistically diverse or they don't speak English as their first language. In the blue box, you see that these linguistically diverse students will learn best when they are taught in their native language. That means if they're sitting in a classroom at any point in the day, they should be learning in Spanish if that's their native language, or in French if that's their native language, or in Hmong if they're from China and that's what their family speaks. This is what research tells us would make the student most successful in learning. But what we see is what is in the green box. Most schools have high populations of many different languages represented through their students. So there may be 3 Spanish students in a classroom and a Chinese student and a French student or a German student or a Japanese student. So they can't instruct the classroom in one native language. So what happens is students are instructed primarily in English, and then an English language learning teacher would pull them out for small parts of the day, maybe 30 minutes a day, if they're lucky, a little bit more, and they'd work on teaching them English. They're not really working on much content in these classrooms. They're working on getting the student proficient in English. And then sometimes, if you're lucky, they can push into the regular education classroom during content time. So maybe if they're learning about social studies, the ELL teacher would push in and help them during social studies time and supplement. But in most cases, other than the time they're pulled out to learn English, they are learning just like all the other students in the classroom in English. And if they're not a native English speaker, this becomes quite a wall for them to jump over. So the rest of our presentation will give you strategies for how to reach out to those linguistically diverse students in your classroom and help them and accommodate for their lack of English and help them still learn while they're in your classroom and you are speaking English. So we'll move to that soon.